got back last state science.
So how did they do it?
Chemistry, they got first and fourth.
Knowing that nothing was
They were prepared for the boys for what? Just one overall. Good to know. Yeah. Yeah. That was good.
And how's your granddaughter?
repercussions.
She'll be fine.
My sister teaches school up in right outside of Knoxville at a Catholic school, and they had a drill the other day because everybody's on super hyped alert outside of Nashville.
That's a totally
So
different.
yeah, she didn't get fed. Let's know that police get back in.
Great.
She was good.
Everybody's so.
What school is it?
St. Mary's in Oak Ridge.
There is school board.
Dr. T.
In a weird part of my life, I lived outside.
Did she really? What kind of?
My special gift.
Martin, that's what she did. Martin. So she drives. She lives in Pelican Village. And so she teaches at St. Mary's in Oak Ridge.
I said where they built the atom bomb.
Okay, yes. So they have a school and they have a church there, and they get a lot of Dominican nuns that go in and teach because the convents in Knoxville.
Christine,
His kids used to.
I think it's automatic, but I mean,
It wasn't. It was in
trying to get his
some guys
wireless in here.
like something.
Yeah, but you want the private one or the, just trying to get on?
Or Satan. I'm not Catholic. I don't know all the names.
No, I have you down. 2 seconds.
Articulate, very sophisticated.
Yeah, and hers goes through K through 8, so
Oak
yeah.
Ridge is right.
Yeah,
Now, if I can get Tony to use this time.
it's growing like crazy, you know, I mean, so.
I did speak to her. Yes, I did.
Right outside of there, someone was getting ready to retire, and she said she'll take us out and do a little thing, you know. It's not too bad, it's only 7 hours away, you know, and I've seen it, I feel like I can too.
There are these,
Aside from that
You
kind
gotta
of
talk to her though.
that's out over there. We went to Knoxville back in January, and we stayed at the Embassy Suites when it had just been redone. And it was really nice, it was right downtown there, downtown, stepped on the store, and a rooftop bar.
it's one thing
It was
that's in
so nice.
Our meeting to order. It's 5 o'clock, and we want to welcome everyone here. Would you mind leading us in? We're going to stand and ask Dr. Lawrence Barrett if he would to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barrett. Okay, tonight we will acknowledge the audience of any citizen. The FGC Board of Trustees will hear any citizen who wishes to address the board on a one-time basis pertaining to a relevant topic. The board wishes to hear more about the topic. The topic will be scheduled for future board meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. The time dedicated to this topic will not exceed 20 minutes. I do not have anyone listed tonight, so we'll move on to item 4, which is approval of our previous board minutes. From March the 9th, you've had a copy of those, fellow board members. Do you see any changes, corrections, or amendments to
I
those?
make a motion to approve.
You hear Ms. McGinnis' motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Thank you, Mrs. Allen. All in favor of that move and second, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. The motion's carried. We will now ask for our student government report, and tonight we have the honor of having Ms. Kayla Desmartin from Branford, Florida. And here's just a few of the things that this young, I don't know if she has time to sleep with all this. She is a student, along with being a student, she's a student government representative. She is the outreach coordinator for student government. She runs cross country for us, and she is on our flag football team, so the podium is yours.
She's an excellent student, too.
I'm sure.
Good afternoon, board members, Dr. Barrett and Ms. Logan. My name is Kayla Desmartin, and I am the Outreach Coordinator for Student Government. For the month of April, SGA has hosted and will continue to host events and activities for our students to participate in. This includes spring fling, paint pouring, music trivia, snow cones, student field day, and planting succulents and cacti for students to take home. We recently had SGA elections, and Zamaria Granado will be the SGA president for the next school year. She's actually from Brantford as well, which is where I'm from high school, so we played basketball and everything together. Are there any questions?
Well, Branford's just a leadership supply line. Wow. Better than Branford.
I'll be reporting that to you.
Yeah, thank you. Does anyone, any board member have anything they'd like to ask or
Thank you for
observe?
your report.
And feel free to whatever you need from us, however we can support you best. We want to be here for you and all the students.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight. Okay. Item number 6 is the presentation of our consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda are routine business, state directives, and/or compliance items. All items have been reviewed by our board attorney and have been available to the board for his examination. Any trustee, as always, can request a topic to be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further. Typographical errors will be noted and corrected in the board minutes. Is there any item that any member of the board would like to have removed and set aside for additional consideration? If there are none, do we have any questions about any of the items? If not, then we will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Dr. Tepedino moves to approve the consent agenda. Have a second?
I second it.
Thank you. Mrs. McGinnis seconds the motion. You hear the motion and second by these board members. Any discussion? If there is none, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign, and the motion is carried. Item number 7 we'll hear from Academic Affairs, Dr. Gavin.
Okay, so we received actually a perfect audit from FDLE. The audit covered our law enforcement, corrections, and advanced training programs, and we will be receiving our perfect audit Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission certificate next month. And this basically means that we're not going to have to get audited next year. So that's a great thing.
Great.
Yeah. Second, we had a Perkins audit, and it was very positive. We had no findings. The auditors were actually notably impressed with our CTE program offerings and how we actually utilize all of the things that we purchased under the Perkins money. They actually got in there and wanted to play with all of our goods. Right, and so it was they had quite a good time. We now have our pipeline purchased fire truck for Olusty, and students and instructors absolutely love this new fire truck. The truck is a great upgrade from the last fire truck that they had, and it's going to help enhance our training, especially when it comes to burns and state test prep. So we are thankful that you guys allowed us to get that. Students, staff, and instructors from our law enforcement training program, they actually participated in the recent torch run for Olympics, Special Olympics race that happened last week. They had quite a good time. We have several pictures of that one. The Educational Affairs Committee is developing an AS in industrial management technology, and this is geared toward allowing students who gain their certificates in welding, HVAC, CDL, and cosmetology. It's going to give them that opportunity to go ahead and articulate the credit into credit hours, or the clock hours into credit hours, and will allow them to get an AS degree that's really geared towards, being able to run their own business in their particular field. And basically, they'll just need the remaining general education courses and then some business courses to help sum up that AS degree. And Caleb Dummis, who is an HVAC graduate from December, he went ahead and competed in the Florida Post-Secondary Skills USA competition yesterday and today. And Caleb won his actual HVAC competition. So he got first place, and he's going to be moving on to the national competition in Atlanta in July. So we're very, very happy about that. And then lastly, I brought Dr. Troy Appling to discuss the Howl Awards from our Howl magazine.
Hi. All right. Yes, I bring shiny things. Last February on the 9th and 10th, the Florida College System Publications Association held their annual conference at the Florida State College of Jacksonville Kent campus. And we had a smaller pool of entries this year, but we came away with 2 awards, both of them first place. Best short story in the state and best 2-page design. So that was exciting. Howl is still continuing. They've won awards every year for the past, I think, 12 years that they've been, so I'm super excited about that. The staff is currently working on the edition for this spring. It should come out in a couple of weeks, knock on wood. It's a comic book theme, and right now it features a dozen student works, and we've still got some more coming in as of this afternoon, right before I left to come here. Any questions?
Thank you.
And if you want to see these will be hanging on the wall in Building 2.
Thank you so much. Great job. Great job. Okay, Student Affairs and Public Information, Mr. Cardenas.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is summer camp season at FGC. We are scheduled and ready to go for this June and July. We are currently offering 12 camps this summer, including art, flag football, STEM, esports, cheer, volleyball, and softball. Our numbers look very strong. Going into the second week, we have over 64 registered campers already. We only had 90 last year, so I think we're going to have a huge demand this year. I think what also is helping is the addition of our Little Wolves childcare, which will be available for faculty, staff, and students whose campers need supervision after the morning camps. Our TRIO program just presented their annual progress report, which was completed and submitted this month. We exceeded all of our metrics goals for the year. Persistence was at 81% for our students. Good academic standing was at 95%. And associate and certificate attainment was at 48%. And associate or certificate attainment and transfer to 4-year was at 17%. So we actually exceeded all of those goals going into with our TRIO program. And finally, athletics. Antoine Weber has been selected for the NJCAA Division II Men's Basketball All-America First Team.
Wow.
He is the first student athlete since we brought back sports to attain this status as a freshman.
Wow.
The only freshman on that team.
Wow.
So it was an amazing cap to an incredible year after they've gone to nationals. So that is my Student Affairs and Public Information Report. Also in your folders, I believe we have submitted or included all the press clippings for the last month and the press releases. Those should be in there.
And the esports team is going to, I just saw the paper the other day, the esports team is doing something really big.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are 7-0. They are undefeated in Overwatch. They were able to skip the first round of the tournament, national tournament last week. They are now going to be in the second round. They play this Saturday. I don't know who that opponent is yet, but this is the most successful that group has been. They've done an incredible job. John Hartzog has done an amazing job with his recruitment this year, and we've got some really, really strong recruits coming in this next year from what I've been told. So,
It's great.
and flag football also concluded their season. They are 8-1. Actually, they haven't concluded their season. My apologies. They are 8-1. They have 2 more games left, which will be down in Fort Lauderdale next week. And then after that, they'll be going to the national finals in Atlanta, May 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Wow.
So they'll be playing for the national title this year, the first year in existence.
So our sports have done incredibly well. I'm so proud of not only just getting those programs up and running, but the quality of them and also the academics of the students that are in them, because clearly that was one of our chief goals. But are you seeing what we had hoped happen, was people coming and saying, hey, pulling more students that are from this community saying, I can continue my sports career here? Are you getting more people that are like, I was surprised Branford, 2 people from Branford, that's not our service district. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, we are. And esports is probably the prime example of that. Most of our esports students are from Columbia County, actually. Out of all the 5 counties that we do serve, most of them are coming from that area. So that's a big draw, and especially the more successful they get. That's really a word of mouth type of sport. The rumors get out, hey, they're doing well. They get on Discord, they're watching the videos. They're watching videos about video games, and they're watching those. So that it picks up and it grabs momentum that way. So it's, at the beginning, it really took off and just started to spin a lot quicker. Of course, with basketball, that's been a staple. We've always done well, especially in the service district, getting the top talent, keeping it here. Still working on that. Doing that cross country with the men's cross country program starting next fall. We have several runners from inside the district. So it's about the sports offering and the timing of those sports, and we're putting them into the rotation that we have. So it's a combination of all that. But the word's getting out, and the success is getting out.
Great. That's wonderful.
Yes.
What is the fishing team like as far as their schedule goes? How's that doing?
The fishing team has an amazing schedule, and they are all over. They're not just in Florida. A lot of their competitions are in Georgia, Alabama, Virginia. They're going to all of the major competitions, all the Bassmaster competitions throughout the Southeast. So what's nice about them, they're part of the heavy hitters. They're at the top. We are already at the top of that group. So they have, and once again, another year of success, finishing first, second in a lot of these competitions. The whole team is they're doing extremely well too. So once again, it's one of those type of niche sports that really fits well into a school like Florida Gateway College.
We got 87 full-time students out of sports now.
Wow, that's great.
It's pretty amazing.
Wow. Incredible.
And obviously doing well academically, or we wouldn't be able to play.
Correct. We have 6 students that we'll be honoring at the athletic banquet that have 4.0s.
Wow, that's great.
And
It'll be
Antoine-
interesting to see if the Mercedes-Benz Stadium was playing for a national championship in front of about 100 people. It's going how they're gonna videotape that. It's gonna be interesting, so.
That's great.
We have a fishing club in Dixie, and they're doing well.
Well, I'll talk to our coach. We gotta get down there and see those guys.
Pardon?
I'll talk to our coach. We gotta get down and see those guys.
Yeah.
They've probably been up. I guarantee they've probably been here. Every week we always see them walking around,
Okay.
taking tours of campus, working with the admissions office. So yes, love those guys.
Great. Any other comments, observations, or questions?
He has one other report.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No problem. I have the economic impact report. This is one of those times I really wish my high school economics teacher could see me now. Here we go. Okay, so in November of 2022, Dr. Barrett commissioned LICAST to conduct an economic impact study for Florida Gateway College. FGC had previously worked with that LICAST on an economic impact report in 2013. Christine Boatwright, our institutional effectiveness team, Cassie Buckles, Michelle Holloway, Stephen Culati, and I worked with LICAST to get data, photos, and graphics to help develop the reports that we're going to give you today. The actual full report is 98 pages long. In front of you in your folder, I believe you have the executive summary. I'm going to go through this presentation, but I do not want anybody to feel like I'm glossing over anything here. It can go very, very in-depth. I do feel like an economics major after reading this just once. If you have any questions, please let me know. If it's a little too deep for me, I do have an economist on speed dial right now named Michael Gillum who will put this report together, and we can get those questions answered for you. So the good news, our economic impact report shows that Florida Gateway College significantly impacts the business community and generates a return on investment for its major stakeholder groups, students, taxpayers, and society. LICAST used a two-pronged method involving an economic impact analysis and an investment analysis that, in this study to calculate the benefits received by each of these groups. The analysis results reflect fiscal year 2021-22. They use a lot of different data points, but these are just some general data points that we had received from them as part of the slide presentation. So the average earnings for an associate degree inside of our service district or region, as they like to put it, is $34,600. The total gross regional product, the GRP, for our 5-county area is $4.4 billion, and we currently house 57,974 jobs. A glimpse at the data that we did use from the college shows that we had 3,928 credit earning students during this year, 202 non-credit, 473 employees, 18.5 million in total payroll and benefits, 2.4 million in total tuition revenue, and 29% of our students came from outside of our service area, which I will circle back to that number as we go through the economic impact. It's kind of an important number when we look at the student involvement. So an overview of the results. On the right, you will see, on the left, you will see an overview of the economic impact study. FGC added $63 million in income to our service district economy, a value approximately equal to 1.4% of the region's total gross regional product. Expressed in terms of jobs, FGC impact supports 1,203 jobs. For perspective, the activities of FGC and its students support 1 out of every 48 jobs in the FGC service district. On the right, you will see the overview of the investment analysis. The study results demonstrate that FGC is a strong investment for all 3 major stakeholder groups, students, taxpayers, and society. As shown, students receive an excellent return for their investment in an education from FGC. For every $1 spent, they receive $7.50 in future income. At the same time, taxpayers' investment in FGC returns more to government budgets than it costs and creates a wide variety of social benefits throughout Florida. So looking at the economic impact study, we looked at 4 specific areas, the first being operations spending. So in 21-22, the college employed 473 full-time and part-time faculty and staff, 67% of which lived in the FGC service district. During the analysis year, FGC's day-to-day operations spending added $19.6 million in income to the region. This figure represents the college's payroll, the multiplier effects generated by the in-region expenditures of the college and its employees, and a downward adjustment to account for the college's funding from regional sources. The $19.6 million in added income is equivalent to supporting 467 jobs in our region. Construction. FGC invests in construction yearly to maintain its facilities, create additional capacities, and to meet its growing educational demands. In 2021-22, FGC's construction spending generated $1.7 million in added income, equivalent to supporting 29 jobs. And that includes the $6.9 million that we spent for the new STEM building, helped generate that $1.7 million. On slide 7, we're looking at the student spending impact. Like I mentioned before, 29% of our students attending FGC originated from outside the region. So they came here either for a major or for athletics or for some other reasons. So these students relocated to the service district to attend FGC. In addition, some in-district students, referred to in this report as retained students, would have left the FGC service district if it not for the existence of Florida Gateway College. So while attending the college, these relocated and retained students spent money on groceries, accommodations, transportation, and other household expenses. This spending generated $1.2 million in added income for the regional economy, which supported 24 jobs in our service district. And now the big one, the alumni impact. Today, thousands of former FGC students are employed in the FGC service district. As a result of their education from FGC, the students receive higher earnings and increase the productivity of the businesses that employ them. In fiscal year 21-22, FGC alumni generated $40.5 million in added income for the regional economy, which is equivalent to supporting 680 jobs. The economic boost from our alumni is similar to hosting the World Series 6 times. It's an amazing number. This, once again, is just an overview of that impact like I talked about before. $63.2 million in total added income, 1.4% of the region's GRP, a little over 1,200 jobs, 1 out of 48 jobs. And we are impacting the largest industries inside of our service district: government, non-education, healthcare and social assistance, retail, trade, other services, and construction. Okay, on this slide, this is the investment analysis. So, in fiscal year 21-22, students paid a present value of $5 million to cover the cost of tuition, fees, supplies, and interest on student loans. They also forewent $7.3 million in money they would have earned had they been working instead of attending college. In return for their investment of $12.3 million, students will receive a cumulative present value of $92.1 million in increased earnings over their working lives. This translates to a return of $7.50 in higher earnings for every dollar students invest in their education at Florida Gateway College. Students' average annual rate of return is 23.3%. For perspective, the S&P 500 has delivered an average return of 10.5% over the last 30 years. So when we get that question, is higher education a good investment? Well, I can say with a straight face, at Florida Gateway College, it definitely is. Taxpayer perspective. When FGC's taxpayer benefit cost ratio is greater than 1, it creates more tax revenue than it takes. For every dollar the state taxpayers give to FGC, the college returns $1.10 in government coffers. This $1.10 represents a larger future tax base from students' higher income and workforce productivity, which has been discounted back to the present on this graph or on this slide. After all, $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. And finally, the social perspective. In 21-22, Florida invested $41.1 million to support FGC. In turn, the Florida economy will grow by $364.2 million over the course of the students' working lives. Society will also benefit from $8.1 million of public and private sector savings. For every dollar invested in Florida Gateway College in 21-22, People from the great state of Florida will receive $9 in return for as long as FGC's 21-22 students remain active in the state workforce. Are there any questions?
I have
Yes.
a question for you. Okay, do other colleges do a similar type of analysis? Is there a benchmarking process that goes with this?
Yes, other colleges do this, and the company that we went with, several of our sister colleges in the state of Florida do use this specific company to do this.
All right.
And we did ask them, how do we compare ourselves
Right.
to others? And they said, well, that's a good question, but not a good question all at the same time, since we all have different economic situations that we're in. So our 5-county district compared to where Valencia is located, or where Miami-Dade is located, it's hard to compare. And then also looking at the amount of tax dollars that go to, or state dollars that go to a Valencia or to go to a Miami-Dade are so much larger than what we get. But still, they said don't even compare this to your 2013 report.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because they're using better data than they did in 2013. But they said it's just because the economic situations are so different throughout the state of Florida, it's hard to compare apples to apples if you looked at other schools.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's definitely impressive, and
Yes.
certainly, I know we've got our state representative here, and I would be proud to be able to show that the times that he's helped to support Florida Gateway College and some of the financial help we've got from the state, it certainly can show that we've done what we needed to do. How do students and families end up learning about this and about as part of your recruitment process? Have you given some thought to that yet?
Yes. Actually, now we're going into phase 2 of this. So phase 1 started before this meeting. We sent out a press release to everyone out here that we normally send. All the media outlets have received a copy of the executive summary and our infographic. I can make sure that everybody here gets a copy of the report. Like I said, it's a 98-page report, but that is the first wave that we're getting this information out, and then presenting it to the Board of Trustees. Then the next phase, we'll be getting it out to the rest of the campus, to all of our leaders on campus, and then, this is going to be social media blast. This is going to be different ways that we can use this in presentations, but right away.
Lee's already shared it with the legislature, not with the letters.
Okay.
Yes.
And then also like our elected officials in the different service areas of the different service district. I mean, clearly, even with the school system and dual enrollment and some of the guidance counselors and choices that they're making with students, there's a clear path that this makes financial sense for a student and a parent to come here.
Yeah, I would dearly love for our school board to get the very pithy ROI information that he shared.
Sure.
That'd be very powerful for them.
And the only reason I was asking, I know you can't compare, but there are two schools that, I know, that, like in McClinney, I'm sure you had the Battle of North Florida.
We do.
And then, of course, we had the Santa Fe monolith down south. But, for what we're doing here and what people end up spending, it's a really great return.
Impressive.
And so you don't want to cherry pick things from different people's reports, but we've got a good story to tell for a parent that's trying to decide between one or the other. You can just show,
Yes.
and especially in certain segments. And you're able to break that down even to different segments, like this is what your return is on healthcare. If you did, if you came here to our nursing program instead of going down the street to their nursing program.
Yeah, the impact that we're having inside of, yes,
Okay.
I have all those numbers.
And this is a wonderful report.
Thank you. A lot of time, a lot of effort. It really is the institutional effectiveness thing that really came through with a lot of that data, almost all of it. So thank you, Christine.
Excellent. Very, very good data.
Are there any other observations from any of the board members? Okay, wonderful. Item 9, enrollment and marketing. Mrs. Schrader.
Summer registration began on April 3rd. This summer, along with promoting just general enrollment, we are promoting student wellness. And so we're offering free breakfast daily to students in the grill, Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 10. We're also highlighting our free counseling services that we offer through Baycare Life Management and Better Mind. And we're highlighting our renovated fitness center. So we're hoping that this incentivizes students to come on campus more and take advantage of those services. This is the first term since the COVID relief began that we haven't offered a financial incentive for enrollment, and I know we've all been kind of wondering how that would impact us. Currently, in credit hours, compared to this time last year, we're up by 2%. We're at 7,381 credit hours compared to 7,194 credit hours. In head count, we're down 6%. I led with the good, but we're down 6%. 1,023 students compared to 1,092 students at this time last year, but it's still very early. Classes began May 8th. We held one-stop enrollment today over in the library, and so all of our enrollment and student affairs offices transitioned over there for the day and helped students enroll wherever they were in the process. We did have 85 students by the time I left to come over here, and it was still going on, so that was a really good turnout for One Stop. We are preparing for spring graduation on May 5th at 10 a.m. and 1:30. So students were able to sign up for the ceremony they would like to attend, and I know we're all surprised that most of them rushed to get the afternoon ceremony. So we had to put the remaining that hadn't signed up in the morning. We have 112 students that'll be walking in each ceremony on May 5th. It's time for Board of Trustees scholarship recipients or awards. Again, we have received 110 applications for Board of Trustees scholarship. That's the most we've ever received. The committee did make the selections this week, and so we are planning to surprise the students again with yard signs in front of their homes at the end of April, because high school award ceremonies begin in May, so we'll also recognize them there. Enrollment Services has implemented digital diplomas. Beginning with spring 2023 graduates, students can receive a digital diploma, and it'll be more timely than the hard copy that will still come in the mail. You're smiling at me. So students can share these on social media and with potential employers. And the hard copy that they will receive in the mail, they'll also receive notification that it's been mailed, and they'll be able to track it. So that's a new service that we're able to offer to graduates. And then finally, the 75th anniversary gala on May 20th. Ticket sales started the first week of April. We have sold some tables and some tickets, so that's going well. The evening will include some unique elements, including complimentary valet parking, a wolf ice sculpture, laser light show set to live music, and a formal sit-down dining experience. We're very appreciative to our sponsors for the event. Adams Family Farms is our platinum sponsor. I lost the word for a minute. HCA Florida Lake City Hospital is our gold sponsor, and First Federal Bank is our silver sponsor.
You want to tell them to sit down? You also want to tell them we worked on some things today?
Yeah, we met with the decorator. Do you want me to talk about some of
No,
the-
you don't have to talk about the decorating. I'm not ready for a wedding yet.
Okay. I don't know how much you want me to go into.
No, just about the laser light show and the musician, because it's not going to be, I mean.
Yeah, in real time, they actually choreographed the laser show to the live music. So it's really interesting, and we're excited to see it. Anything else you want me to touch on?
No.
Okay.
Pretty fancy.
It's going to be very fancy. Yeah, the plans look gorgeous. It's
Is
going to be
is this because he told you, or he requested that it be the fanciest?
That Lakeside.
I know what I'll do. I'll get some lasers and some, like,
Yeah.
I wanted drones too.
Yeah.
We got
We couldn't do fireworks. So, yeah, the decorator, we told her we need it to be the fanciest thing Lake City has ever seen.
Gotcha.
Within budget. So.
Gotcha. Great.
Questions?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
And item number 10, Mrs. Holly.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
I have my two normal budget amendments to request approval on. First one, the college request approval of budget amendment number 7, the restricted fund for the fiscal year 2022 through 2023. This amendment recognizes revised award authorizations and new grants listed in the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
Can we entertain a motion?
I move to accept budget amendment number 7, capital outlay plan for unexpended plant fund 7 budget fiscal year 2022-2023.
Mrs. Allen
I
makes
think that was that the second request or the first request?
The first.
Okay.
Mrs. Allen makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. McGinnis seconds. You hear the motion in seconds. Is there any discussion, questions? If not, all in favor, members of the board, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion is carried.
Thank you. My next request is we are requesting approval of Fund 7, Budget Amendment 7, which has been revised, so the report reflects actual revenue, revised budgeted expenditures, actual expenses, and updated projects through March 27th, 2022. And again, you'll note the new items of the deferred maintenance. Those are the first 7 listings, and you can see the balances there.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Mrs. Norris makes the motion. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Lander. You hear the motion and second. Are there any questions or any discussion? If not, members of the board, let it be known by saying, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. The motion is carried.
Thank you. Any questions for me?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
President's report, item number 11.
I won't have that much for you because I'm going to defer my time to 2 people, but I will want to thank Dr. Sorensen, who couldn't be with us this evening for the grand opening in Bell last month. It was a nice event. In your packets, of course, it's the invites to the biggest and grandest ball of all time in all of Lake City in there in those packets. Also a reminder about graduation on May 5th that Casey already talked about, Ms. Schrader talked about, with our alumni speaker. It's going to be a very nice alumni speaker. We're still working on our student speaker. There's a couple of potential speakers, so we'll select them early next week. The other important item for myself, because it's required by law, is my evaluation, which we will encourage you to fill out, and we will bother you if you don't fill it out before the next meeting. And I think we're a little late on this. It's supposed to happen in April, so I'll have to try to address that in May if possible. So that is, and one last thing before I turn it over to Lee, is in regards to budget. The budget looks very promising for the college. Very promising, probably the best budget allocation in all my time here, and probably in the history of the college if it continues to go that way. But we all know at the end of the day, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So we're optimistic, but we are working on our budget that way, and we'll concentrate on our budget. Will be dedicated as usual. Priority is why we're here is our students. The second priority, top priority, is our people, take care of our people. And the third, of course, is the future of the college, that we don't waste money and we plan for the future so this campus can be here another 75 years and beyond. So I just wanted to give you that, and most likely I will be asking the board, it is in your item, Mr. Chair, to have a workshop, and I'm open, we're all open to whenever you want to have that workshop, before or after the regular scheduled meeting, or before, it's up to you. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to Lee. This will probably be the quickest Lee has ever spoken, right? So.
I'll be brief.
So.
This is just a follow-up to Trustees Norris's question at our last board meeting, asking what the total amount of community support was to the Alusty expansion, and that dollar, we're pleased to report, is $853,000 of community support, of which $275,000 was cash dollars. The rest was in-kind donations of land clearing, other equipment that was donated. So it's a follow-up to your question.
Thank you, and an awesome outreach on a project like that, so congratulations.
Yes.
Anything else? I yield my time.
I cannot believe that. That's a miracle. We have this ongoing. And then the last person I'd like to turn over, we've gone through this strategic plan, seems so long ago. It's been about 5+ years, and in some ways it seems like just yesterday, but in other ways it feels a long time ago. So we're pleased to try to report to you. Part of a good strategic plan is to fill out that circle It's not how you started, it's how you finished. And we bear our warts and we bear our fruits of our labor in this report. So Christine, who is our Associate Dean of Institutional Effectiveness and oversees the library, has poured a lot of time and energy with all these people in this room and our entire staff and faculty over this report. Remember, we started this process with 77 faculty and staff without executives involved with us, and now we're ending it. So, and we're going to be starting a new one soon. So, Christine, the floor is yours. And I told you you have 7 minutes. Okay?
Yeah. So, I'll echo Lee. I'll be brief and talk fast. So thank you, Dr. Barrett. Thank you, the board, and Ms. Logan. This has been a tremendous effort by everybody on this campus. Everything that is done for the sake of the students, but we're all involved. They are involved, we're involved, and it can get a little overwhelming at times to try to keep up with everything. When you think of the things that happen in the course of 5 or 6 years, it's a little unbelievable. So I'll briefly highlight the President's aspirational goals and the 6 goals that were formed in the 2017 to 2022 plan. We started this plan as soon as Dr. Barrett came, basically, because he wanted to hit the ground running. I know that is no surprise to any of you. And his aspirational goals were very ambitious, also no surprise to any of you, I'm sure. And the first 2, which there's a lot of slides in a lot of pages in this report, so I'm going to only highlight a handful of them. But the first 2 sections of the aspirational goals related to enrollment. We had tremendous enrollment growth for the first few years of the strategic plan, and then of course 2020 happened, and we are struggling to recover still. But we've made a lot of progress thanks to a lot of Ms. Schrader's efforts and a lot of other people on this campus. We also, that's a really long ways away, by the way. I'm going to look down for a minute. We did make significant progress on the number of full-time faculty on this campus. In the time, we had 65 full-time faculty at the beginning of 2017, and we now have 74 full-time faculty. So we were 1 shy of our goal. We far surpassed our original goal to increase assets of the Foundation for Florida Gateway College. And we also strove to expand the number of baccalaureate programs that we offer. We didn't quite make our goal there. We were planning on a BS in Business Administration. That was put on hold for a number of reasons. But we were able to get the elementary education degree, which has been an amazing opportunity for our students and people in our region overall. The next 2 are retention rates, first-time full-time and fall-to-fall. Our first-time full-time retention is showing that, so they come one fall and then they are still here the next fall. So that we increased by 2%, which when you look at the student population is a really great thing, because first-time full-time is not including dual enrollment. This is only first-time full-time students who are coming in as freshmen. We maintained our overall fall-to-fall retention rate. That does include dual enrollment students. The biggest increase by a very long way is our increase in graduation rates. We went from 41% graduation rate to a 64% graduation rate, near the top of community colleges in the country. It's a tremendous improvement. And a lot of the data that we are looking at for this leads us to believe that these are the main reasons why we received the top 150 community colleges by the Aspen Institute. And fingers crossed that it'll happen again this year. We'll see. Assuming that the Aspen Institute continues their work this year. The one last aspirational goal that Dr. Barrett had was to expand the number of academic programs offered entirely through distance learning to 8. We originally had that, we surpassed that goal and revised it to 13, and we have 12. So we almost made the second goal. And I actually think that we did this semester because of the health information technology change. But that was after 2022. Sorry, Ann. Okay, so we had our 6 goals. The first goal was to improve student persistence, retention, and learning through instructional excellence and exceptional support services. Some of the biggest achievements, as were mentioned briefly, were our improvements in our retention rates and our overall graduation rates. Again, we had a 23% increase in our graduation rates from 2017 through 2022. We also, one of our goals was to establish a career center. That center was established in 2017. We purchased software to help students with resume building and portfolio creation, and they can take career assessments, and we actually embedded these efforts into our student success PACE, personal engagement and career, personal, it's the SLS class, it's PACE, the word's gone. It's a great acronym. We do also have twice-a-year career fairs, which has been a really great boon. It's an opportunity for students to get out there and see what is available. Let's see here. Our second goal is engagement to promote economic development and community enrichment through business partnership, service, and engagement. The colleges work very hard to increase service learning and community service hours, nearly 1,500 hours completed over the course of our strategic plan by students. And that includes our COVID vaccination clinic. We had our Fall Festival and Winter Wonderland. We've done local charity events of all kinds. The other one, we had more than 23,000 participants participants and visitors in our theatrical performances, summer camps, experience days, movie nights, Winter Wonderland, just a lot of events and a lot of work in the past few years. We brought back athletics. We've heard some amazing stories tonight just about where we have come. So far, they've done a lot of work, that we've got some great students and they've accomplished so much. Our academics and lifelong learning goal is goal number 3. You'll note that we placed moderate progress on that. Dr. Gavin was not very happy with me because she's an A student. But the reason that we had to lower the bar on that one just a little bit was predominantly because of COVID-19. We had to scale back our lifelong learning objectives. It's very difficult in that environment to make the strides that we were hoping for. So there's always next time. We did offer some amazing learning experiences. We had our first study abroad trip in 2019. My daughter was one of the ones who attended that and just had the best time. We've had some great experiential learning with our CDL students, getting to have hands-on driving experience and transporting our hurricane relief supplies last fall. Of course, I already mentioned our EMS and nursing providing COVID shots. Of course, our cultural events, and we had a wonderful student here earlier, and SGA and the Campus Activity Board put on amazing activities. All right. We have nearly 100 offerings of general education courses, which is a lot to think about for a college of this size. We have 6 different general learning outcomes that students who take those courses have to meet, and we have to track those to show our success and their success in achieving those goals. And we've revised these every couple of years. We look at them and say, okay, where are we lacking? Where do we need to improve? Which is why it's always a major goal for us. All right. Our fourth goal, assessment, accountability, and improvement. We had moderate progress on this one. Again, this one, there were some things that we wanted to achieve, but we had to kind of scale back a little bit. We had a lot of change. We've had a lot of retirements, but we've also made some really major progress in a lot of areas. You will see in some of those things, like we've had a lot of improvements in our audits. And, Dr. Gavin was talking about that. In our business audits as well, we've had some great strides in improving our outcomes there. We also worked very hard to make sure that our programs are up to date and that they're what our students need to move into the workforce. We have advisory boards. We've retooled several programs during this strategic plan time and created new programs based on local needs assessments. All right, goal 5 was our institutional resource development. Of course, you've all seen the STEM building. That was definitely almost as big as the library. The building is still smaller than the library, say it. But it was a tremendous effort.
She went there.
She went there.
We also invested $8.3 million in HVAC and lighting renovations over the course of all of this time period. $6 million LSD campus expansion, a $500,000 automotive technology center, and a major investment in incorporating technologies in our classrooms. We purchased different softwares to help improve processes and allow our departments and our students to become more effective, more efficient, and as well as our various departments. The institutional effectiveness department is one of those. We perform course evaluations for all students, and spring of 2022, only 30% of students completed their course evaluations. In fall of 2022, 2 semesters later, the first semester we instituted a new course evaluation software, we received 57% of our students. So, and I'm hoping for 70% this semester, but we'll see. All right, and our final goal was access, helping provide multiple pathways for equal and equitable access to this college's programs and services. I already spoke about the enrollment, and you'll see slides. I call them slides. They're pages in your report. A couple of the things that we're most proud of, though, is our improvements in equitable access. Our female and our African American students both had great increases in first-time, full-time graduation rates over the course of the strategic plan period. In fact, in 2017, the 2010 cohort, 18% of our African American students graduated at 150% of the time, and in 2022, that number was 45%. We also increased the kinds of scheduling options that are available to students to allow more flexibility. One of those was a student wait list that we fought for years and years to get going. And that allows students, so a class is full and they're like, I want that class. So we have a way of knowing which classes they really want and can create wait lists for them to open up more sections of that course. We also increased different scheduling options, more express sessions. We have 8-week, 10-week, 12-week sessions for students who need to start a little bit later than our traditional starting periods, or need to break things up differently because of all the things that people have in their lives. So we adapted a lot in this time. We made a lot of progress, and there's of course more progress ahead. So now it's time for us to get ready to start a new plan. And I'm going to take a vacation break. But we'll take what we learned from these past few years, and we'll reframe and see what needs to happen next. Because one of the things that we learned throughout this is that we have to adapt constantly. Things are always changing, and we have to be able to keep up with the students' needs. Any questions?
Observations?
So, I am incredibly proud of this report. I've been on this board a long time. And this is probably one of the most proud moments. And I know Dr. Barrett, when you came on board, I'm sure that, because a lot of people that were in the front end of this plan are not sitting in the seats today. So this was probably a plan that was overwhelming, and a lot of you probably thought this guy came down from Maine and he's got all these aspirational goals on top of this other, the kind of the table stakes goals that we asked you to do. And in my mind, this is a huge success. I hope you're as proud of this as I am being on this board. I want to just thank you, Dr. Barrett, because I know that all of you have worked so hard on it, but without your leadership and your vision to really stretch this college, stretch the board, you stretch the staff, and you stretch the students, our students and our community are better off because the fact that you had a great vision when you came in and you made everybody sit down and put it on paper, and then you held everybody accountable. So thank you.
I agree with that, because
Let's all do
when
that.
he was hired, he started running.
You guys had to keep up.
I almost ran out though the first few weeks.
There's probably a little voodoo doll of him someplace with something sticking pins in him, right? And he would just run faster. So,
As an educator, I know it stands out to Mrs. Allen as well, the things that I had circled. To go through the greatest crisis that our nation has been through since World War II, the Great Depression, I guess COVID, that'd be fair to say, and to see the graduation rate increases that were here in the midst of COVID, when we're shutting everything down, keeping our heads above water from an FTE standpoint, those remarkable graduation rate increases, especially an over 100% increase in our African American population, fighting against all of the odds the past 5 years. It is amazing. It was mind-bending to me as I was highlighting this when I received it.
All of these people,
all
of the faculty, being able to pivot just as quickly as we had to move online, to move our nursing simulation, nursing labs from clinical to an online environment, and doing it with barely a ripple is just amazing.
Some of the numbers just kind of seemed surreal as I was reading them.
Yeah, there were a couple of times I was like, are we sure that's right?
Are we confident before we published this?
That was great.
Kudos, congratulations.
yes, yeah. You deserve a serious
You all deserve.
So what are you going to do for us lately? What's the next step?
What's the on?
As they say in banking, you're
It's
only
gonna be a
as good as your
different
last
plan.
deal, you know? So.
Wow, what a great way to, thank you and thank you for your work on this and the presentation.
I do have to say that John Hartzog is the coordinator of assessment and planning as well as the esports coach, and he is the main designer of this.
Yeah, the pictures, the graphics were great.
The graphics and a lot of the presentations.
Formatting was wonderful. It was great. Okay. I'm going to, if the board will allow me, skipping down, any topics for future meetings, please give it the president. If there's something you'd like to see placed for a future meeting, you're welcome to inspect the warrant register at any time. The time for the next meeting, Dr. Barrett mentioned earlier in our meeting about our workshop for May, which will be important. the workshop prior to our regular scheduled meeting time. That's the way it's listed here. Does that work for
Works
our
for
board
me.
members? Dr. T, is that okay with you?
We'll make it work. We'll make it
Okay.
work.
Then if it's okay with the board, then we will go with the times as published here.
Okay.
Is that okay, Don?
Yeah, and then what we've tried to do is, hopefully, last year we started this, and if we need another workshop, we used to do 2 workshops regarding this, but I think we're gonna try to provide you as much information. The budget will be over by the state by then, and we'll have a good sense, and then,
Great.
and then we'll be able to take action, or if you take action on it in June, if you need another workshop, we'll have one. If you don't need
Okay.
one. So,
Very
that's
good.
what we can.
And I have something I'd like to say.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to give a little bit of information on the State Science Fair, because last month I didn't say anything about the regional fair. So FGC just graciously hosts the regional science fair each year. We actually have 10 counties around us where students can come to our regional fair. We have about 5 counties that regularly participate, though. Whether due to distance or whatever, I'm not sure. They're always invited. But we had a nice fair again over at the Wilson Rivers Library, and some of you may have seen some of the projects there. We have great community support with sponsorship that we're really proud of, and some of the companies will send judges from their businesses, and it's always a great day, a real enjoyable day, and we're so thankful for the college's hosting of it and staff that work to help out.
And she does all that work. She never says it.
Just a director, but it's the college that provides all the resources. And I wanted to say that we sent 17 students from the area to the State Science Fair, which took place last week. And for the second time in 3 years, we had a first in the state of Florida. Now, I know that it may not seem like that big of a deal, but our region is very small by numbers because we're a rural area. To be able to send kids that can compete with the magnet schools and what have you from Miami and Tampa and Jacksonville and everywhere around the state, it's really pretty wonderful. And it was a Columbia County student that won first place, a young man from Fort White. He was an 8th grader, and I know Dr. Barrett remembers this cute little thing with his cute little boy. He, as a 6th grader, he went to state in 6th grade, 7th grade, so this time was his 3rd time, but each time he wins best overall here at the college for the junior division, and he won best in the state this year.
That's
This
pretty
time.
amazing. 8th
So
grade.
that was really, really awesome. So in junior chemistry, we took 1st, 4th, and 5th from the kids from our regional fair. So that was really exciting. We had 4 special awards also that totaled over $500 that kids received. And then we have 2 nominations that were recognized as scholarship nominations here from FGC. And one of those scholarship nominations went to a student from Columbia High School named Shrika Patel. And the other one went to a young lady from Lafayette High School named Gloria Gilliam. And so hopefully they will become students here.
Yeah, I knew the Patel, but I remember the one with blonde that was sitting in front.
In the front, yeah, that one, yep. And so, so I just wanted to give you a little update, and things went well, and we're just thankful to the college for all of its support.
And Lindsay has our alumni in South Korea.
Yep.
So doing well in South Korea. His daughter.
She is.
Just graduated in December.
Start here, go anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
She is. She's I guess she's in her just finished her first month of teaching over there. So it's 8,000 miles away. That's your big negative. But she's fitting right in and doing well, and I thank everybody here at the college helped make that happen. It's a great program, and she has taken full advantage of it and made it happen. So.
Wow, great. Great. Does anybody else have anything at all? been a great night, a lot to celebrate. We're so thankful. If there is nothing else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
All minds relieved then, we'll adjourn on that motion.